Hello, welcome to Accounting 550. My name is Christian Mastelak. I'll be your instructor for the class. I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy to be a part of doing online education at Xavier. My plan for this video, I'll give you a little bit of background about who I am and what I'm doing here at Xavier, and a little bit about my goals for you for the course, and a little bit about how to succeed in the course, and there'll be more of that available elsewhere. And just primarily to welcome you and to let you know who it is who's on the other side of the screen. So my name is Christian Mastelak. You can see the pronunciation there, Mastelak. You can call me in an email or a message or whatever. You can call me Christian. You can call me Dr. Mastelak. You can call me Dr. M if you don't want to have to try to type out Mastelak. However you want to address me is fine. I think we're all adults. We're all in this together. So I have no problem with some sort of familiarity. A little bit about my background. I was born and raised in the Cleveland area. I've spent most of my life in Ohio. So I am a long-suffering Browns fan, as though there is any other kind. I went to Miami University, studied accounting and operations management there from 1992 to 1996. Graduated with degrees in accounting and operations management. Spent the next 6 years working at two different public accounting firms in the Cleveland and Akron area. I did audits of financial statements. I did tax return preparation. I did some business advisory work. I did some business planning work. I did a little bit of litigation support. So I saw a bunch of different things in a few years of practice. And what I noticed in my time there was I love teaching. I love talking about accounting. I love thinking about accounting. I really liked helping the new people who started at the firm sort of learn how to work there and learn how to do the things they need to do. But after a while, I kind of got tired of doing the accounting myself. And so I started thinking about what it is that I really wanted to do. And I asked myself, if I didn't have to work for a living, what would I do with my time? And what I came to the conclusion was I'd go back to school. I was one of those students who wanted nothing more than to graduate when I was in college. But then once I got out into the real world, I thought, why did I want to leave? College was awesome. So I did go back to school. I went to Michigan State for my PhD. That's the only long period of time I've lived outside the state of Ohio. So I got a PhD in accounting from Michigan State. I graduated from there in 2007. One thing I forgot to mention is that when I was at Miami, I met my wife, and she's from Cincinnati. And if you've ever married somebody from Cincinnati, you know that they have to come back home to Cincinnati. And so when I left Michigan State, when I graduated there, my wife said, "You will get a job in Cincinnati." Yes, and I said, "I will get a job in Cincinnati." And fortunately for everybody, Xavier was hiring at the time. So in fall of 2007, I joined the faculty here at Xavier, and have been here ever since. In my time here, I have taught managerial accounting, the course that we're in now. I've taught that at the undergraduate level, the MBA level, face-to-face and online. I've taught it at the executive MBA level. I've taught various types of workshops for industry groups. I've taught cost accounting, which is a more in-depth and accounting-specific look at some of the same content. I've taught that for accounting majors. I've also become the director of the Masters of Accounting program here at Xavier. So I've got some administrative duties as well. I've also taught some financial accounting. So I've taught a bunch of different things here. Managerial accounting is really what I've spent most of my time in. In the semesters I've been here, I'd say probably 85% of what I've taught has been managerial. And with my other background in operations management, that's what I wanted to do when I went to college was to study management. Found out I loved accounting a little bit more. But managerial accounting has an awful lot of operations flavor. You really have to understand what's going on in the business, what the business's operations are. And so that, together with the accounting way of looking at the business and reporting results, is really what floats my boat. What are my goals for you for the course? I am not trying to turn you into accountants. So even when it may feel like that sometimes when I have you doing some calculations for the class, please understand it's not my goal to turn you into accountants. Not everybody wants to be an accountant, and I don't think everybody should want to be an accountant. There are lots of other roles for people, and being an accountant is not better than not being one. But I do want you to understand what it is accountants do, why we do what we do, so you can be better informed consumers of the work that accountants do. I believe it's hard for you to understand what accounting says and what it doesn't say unless you pull it apart a little bit and see what the accountants do. So a good chunk of the class, you will be sort of in the weeds of the calculations, but always try to keep in mind why I want you to do that. I want you to do that so that you can learn what accountants are telling you in the reports they give, and also what they're not telling you. One of my biggest goals for the class is to help you ask better questions of the accountants that you work with. If you ask the accountant a wrong question or an unhelpful question or a vague question, you might well get an unhelpful or a vague answer that you don't necessarily know is not helpful. Accountants are not evil people, but we are busy people, and if you ask us for something and we feel like we can give you an answer and move on, unless we know that the answer we've given is inadequate, we're not going to be able to help you. So what I want you to do is learn how to ask good questions, learn how to ask specific questions, learn how to tell the accountants what information you need, and don't simply ask the question that's vague or unhelpful. So please remember that's what I'm trying to have the course do. The other thing that I really want this course to do for you is to help you see sort of the business logic of making a profit. There's some of the stuff when we look at cost behavior, when we look at revenue behavior, it really helps to see the detail of what it is that makes costs happen and really how you can predict the amount of profit that you're going to have and what activities you need to take to increase that. So you can think of this as a course in business logic. You can also think of it as a course in helping you become better prepared to ask your accountants questions. Now, what is this scary looking picture? This is not an actual photograph, but it might as well be a photograph of my first accounting exam when I was an undergrad at Miami. I was a sophomore. I was taking, I think it was called Accounting 221, the Intro Financial Accounting class that all business majors took. It wasn't even an accounting major class. And my first exam, I got a D- on it. And why did I get a D- on it? For one simple reason, I had not done the homework. I very quickly figured out that accounting is a skill building class. It's not a fact reciting class, but it is a skill building class. And again, I'm not trying to turn you into accountants, but in order to understand the material for this class, you kind of have to do the same thing. I don't want you to get a D-. I eventually recovered. I figured out how to do the work. I figured out how much work I had to do. From then on, for the rest of my accounting education, I was the student who was prepared ahead of time because I had to be. If I missed a day of preparation, I could tell in class that I was lost and I didn't know what was going on. For this course, there is a lot of work for you to do. But I really believe that's the only way for the work to get done. In the 10 plus years I've been teaching, the only time I've ever seen students go from not understanding the material to understanding it is when they've done the work. So if it feels like I'm having you do an awful lot of work, yes, I am. If you could watch other people do things and develop skills that way, then we could all swim by watching other people swim, or we could ride a bike by watching other people ride a bike, or we could become black belts by watching Bruce Lee, but none of those happen. You all know that in order to learn how to swim, you got to get in the pool. In order to learn to ride a bike, you got to get on the bike. In order to become proficient at anything athletic, you have to actually get your body moving. Well, the brain works the same way. So please do not neglect the doing of the work. Please understand that it's what I have you do because it's the only way I think it's possible to learn the material. So that's a quick overview of my approach to the class. As I say, there will be another video that has details about how to navigate through the class and how to get through the various assignments. A little bit more about me personally, in case you're curious. I met my wife at Miami. My wife and I now have 4 children. We've got 2 girls who are currently 13 and 10, and 2 boys who are currently 9 and 4. Elizabeth, our oldest, is in ballet. Amelia, the second oldest, is an artist and a singer. Josiah, the older of the boys, is an excellent athlete. And Simon, who's only 4, we're not really sure yet who he's going to turn into, but he's a very sweet little kid and very bright. I love my kids very much, and I'm very happy for all of them. My personal life, if it's got strings and frets, I will try to play it. That's a sampling of some of the stringed instruments I've amassed over time. In my personal life, I became a Christian in 2004. I've spent time in serving the church that I'm at as an elder and been the treasurer in the past. And much like you, I am currently taking courses in addition to working full-time and having a family like I'm sure most of you do. I've also decided to enroll in seminary, so I'm taking some online classes or some distance classes. In a previous semester, I was taking an online class administered through Canvas, much like yours. I learned Greek online, one semester of Greek. So that's probably as difficult for me as learning accounting is going to be for some of you. And I was very much in the same boat of having to do the homework every time. The classes I'm in now at Western Reformed Seminary are not administered online in the same way, but I've got plenty of reading, plenty of papers to write, plenty of tasks to do. So I understand busy. I understand having more things to do than you have time to do and having to make priorities. As you're going through the class, as I said, the class has a lot of work, and because it's an 8-week condensed format, you're going to have weeks when you're just going to be really busy. Please let me know if there are things I can do. If you're going to travel, if you've got, if work is going to send you out of the country, if your cousin's getting married and you're going to go see that, whatever. Please let me know. I do have deadlines that I try to maintain, but at the same time, life happens, and I want the course as much as possible to be something that helps your life and not hinders your life. So that's my intro for me and for the course, and be on the lookout through the rest of the course for specific details about how to navigate through Canvas and learn and apply the material. Thanks very much.